just me only, sitting on my little throne. I work very hard and make up great friends. Nobody listens, no one understands. Seems like no one takes me seriously. So I'm lonely. Yeah, bit around me. Pour it on me. There's nobody I can re-rate to. Feel like a bird in a cage. It's kinda cheery, but not reary, 'cause it's fearing my body with rage. I'm the world's most athletic, most physically fit, but nobody else seems to realize it. When I change the world, maybe they'll notice me. But until then, I just be lonely. Yeah, rid of lonely. Pour it on me. I'm so lonely.
Now that's a franchise I'd watch.
There's a part of you that the normies fear. You know the truth is what you see. So we welcome you to the home of geeks. Of the oddball, the neglected, the outcast, the rejected. We're all here to celebrate. There's no need to be a packlet. We've done away with all the hatred. Every show you love is here. So kick back and grab a beer. There's plenty of discussion, no agenda that we're pushing. We're just here to celebrate and drag a race. We rebels in the wonders and the strange. Whenever we are here, we see clear. There's no fear. It turns steady every nerd has a voice to be heard. Cause here everyone's a third. We are a sci-fi menagerie. We've got every alien from A to Z. We know this is where you want to be. We're the greatest channel in the galaxy. And decorate rebels in the 1% strange. Whenever we are here, we see clear. There's no fear. Because study every nerd has a voice to be heard. Cause here everyone's a third. A third. Oh yeah. A third.
Hey guys, Michael J. Crawford, the Anti-Tricker here. Good to see you all. And yeah, apparently YouTube was broken for a while. I don't know if you guys had the same problem. I could not get on. I couldn't start a live stream. And it seemed like a lot of people were having, man, my hair's a mess, isn't it? Seems like a lot of people were having that problem. And then it just kind of got fixed. So I guess the people at Google managed to fix whatever the problem was, and bam, now we're up. And so, long as I'm here, figured let's do a live stream. By the way, so if you weren't here for it, we had fun last night on Life with Matthew's live stream. But while we were talking, I was working on this a little project, just designing a different kind of starship here, and so then today did a 3D print of that model, and so we have it. Wait for the focus to kick in. There we go. We got the 3D print of the model right here, kind of to test out how it looks. So there we go. First official anti-tricker starship print. Well, there have been others, but yeah, first one of that ship. Anyway, so to the chat we go. Get back up here. So Resolute was first. Bradley says up all. So Ronry. Charles says hello. Commander Iron Wolf says hey. Rambling Rattlesnake says hi. Jeff Franklin's putting in a sad face. Sorry to hear that, Jeff. AJ Jones says Avenue Q. AJ Jones, is that the AJ I knew in Oregon? Just trying to see. Mike says greetings from Columbus, Ohio. Not Ryan Johnson says greetings programs. Rambling Ramble says what the actual F was that first song? That first song. Oh, I was wondering what I could hear. So you don't have that muted. The now first song is a classic from the movie Team America World Police called I'm So Ronry. Zachary says, hey, Etchinger, how are you? Bird receives a turkey loaf from Turkestan, and he loved it. He said it was better than the steak. Yeah, I actually did catch, I didn't see it live, but I did see Bird's live stream a few minutes after he did it. He does, you know, I understand because he can only do a few minutes at a time from the hospital, but which is too bad because I get the notification, and then by the time I get there, he's already done. But yes, I saw that. Rambling like the second song. Well, I like the second song better as well, but the I'm So Ronry is, you know, that's Bird of Prey 5's theme song, and so I figured I should play that for him. Darren says, I'd like to hear Pianodean do the other Kim Jong-il song, You're So Worthless, Alec Baldwin. You know, I don't know that one, and so, but maybe on Memorial Day we're doing another Piano Man live stream, so maybe we can get him to do it then. Zachary says, so the CW is going to release Superman and Lois series in 2021 as part of the Arrowverse. Last time we saw Lois and Clark, they were in Metropolis, were taking care of their twin boys. That sounds horrible. Don't get me wrong, I like Superman and everything, but do I want to watch a CW show about Superman and Lois raising their twin boys? No, I do not. On YouTube went down for a few minutes. Only YouTube went down for a few minutes. Yeah, it was, I don't know. Well, it was definitely down when I tried to start this live stream a little while ago. So, which sucks. So got a later start than I wanted to. Has anyone found what they changed? I don't know that they changed anything, or if because really this was a true outage. But we'll see in the next couple of days, I'm sure. Jeff says, Orville Nation was broadcasting at the time they stopped their stream and started a new one when it came back up. Yeah, I saw that they were streaming, so I figured that something like that. And let's see here. Rambling says, what do you think of the Tesla Cybertruck? I want one, to be honest with you. I think they are cool. And, you know, call me crazy, call me old-fashioned, but I think the Tesla Cybertruck is cool. And the thing is to see, Valor puts in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Valor. Let's see if the automated computer will read this time.
Just wanted to give you a little extra for all of your hard work and to say hail Karoga. Bird of Prey 5 is awesome. Hail Turkestan and hail Mrs. Anti-Checker, the true ruler of Turkestan. James Bond super chat.
Oh, we want to go for the James Bond super. All right. You say I got to remember which one is that. It's one of the mega chats, but is it this one?
I may have a It's not clean. Repeat, I do not have a clean Take the bloody
Ah, yes, the suffering. Whew. And thank you again, Valor. I truly appreciate it. And let's see. Chrono says, really, you're on now? Yes, I am. Darth Maul says, good seeing you. Thank you, Darth Maul. Thomas says, why can't I skip Biden ads? Oh, YouTube is telling me how to vote again. Well, of course YouTube wants you to vote for Biden. They even, if you never saw that Veritas video, YouTube executives, Google executives said they want to do everything they can to prevent Trump from winning again. So that wouldn't surprise me. It's just like, here's the funny thing is that, I mean, man, I'm not a big fan of Ted Cruz or the Republican Party in general, but I would love for them to nail Google to the wall for this, because in a federal hearing last year, they pulled in an executive from Google and they said, why was this Republican ad banned from YouTube, but this Democrat ad wasn't? And the executive from Google, in a congressional hearing under oath, said that the reason was because the Republican ad violated the terms of service because of the fact that there was a swear word in the ad, to which Ted Cruz said, but the swear word was bleeped out. And they said, yes, but you could tell what it was. Well, I'm sorry, there are ads all over YouTube where they do that. In fact, these newer ones for the soap and stuff, where the ad starts out with the guy saying, your soap tastes or smells like shh, and then it bleeps it out. And it's like, yeah, everybody knows exactly what he said there. And so, yeah, screw these guys. Mr. Lundell says, greetings and felicitations, hip hip hurrah, and I believe it is pronounced tally-ho. And Indy says, live long and perspire. Hey, good to see you. Chrono says, I'm just rassy. Well, or is that racy? Not sure. Multi-Gunman says, hey, how's it going? Hanging in there, my friend. Thomas says, is the website messed up? Got a notification on supporter stream today, but it says on YouTube it was from yesterday. No, it was from today. And yes, YouTube was down for a while, so that might have been the beginnings of some of their problems. Sean says, Jolan True. Chrono says, I'm just razy. Forgive my spelling. Ah, razy. That makes sense. Multi-Gunman says, yes, you did break the internet. Turdistanis are notoriously hard on everything. Hey, no, Turdistan didn't break the internet. I think YouTube did, though. Chrono says, first. Quantum Leapers in the house says, I was using YouTube and I didn't notice they were down. Yeah, and in fact, I went to a website to check, and it's like people were reporting it down all over the world. So it's weird that you didn't, but hey, good for you. I'm calling you crazy because you wish it. Okay. Kronos is insane. Yes, indeed. Kronos is quite insane. And Kronos is saying hi to Mrs. Anti-Checker. Did she put in something in the chat? I didn't see. We will blame YouTube crashing on the Russians. Oh, yes. That's what we should probably do. Daniel says, hey, Anti-Checker, what's up? Still wondering if Earth 89, the Michael Keaton Batman universe, Earth 66, the Adam West Batman universe, and Earth 167, Smallville Earth universe survived. You know what? I don't know. As far as the Crisis crossover, never watched it, and frankly, Daniel, I didn't. And you know I've said this before, but it just they're different continuities, and I know people care about the multiverse idea, but I don't think it was ever intended that Earth 89 and Earth 66 were in the same multiverse. Thomas says the computer voice was kind of low. Yeah, I turned it up. We'll see you next time Super Chat comes in. We'll see if it comes in better. And Chrono says, by the way, you may want to have Mrs. Anti-Checker speak a bit more loudly into her mic or do something because her voice is really quiet. Yeah, I think the computer system was just a little low. We'll see. Like I said, next Super Chat we'll find out. Corona says, bye. I already read that. Valor says, Vivian didn't believe me that this was a thing. Had to show her, although I have a feeling I'm sleeping on the sofa after this. Oh, the James Bond thing? Yes. So now she will never be able to get dancing naked lore out of her head. No, she's really there. It's all, not that she's really there. It's all hypothetical. Right. 100%. Josh says, I think the whole internet going down started with Epic Gaming's turning Grand Theft Auto 5 to free. Did they? They made GTA free? That's kind of crazy. Who wrote the music for the James Bond Super Chat? And was it performed by a live band? It was, I got it from, I don't remember if I got that one from I don't think I got it from Epidemic Sound. But I'm not 100% sure. It's been a long, I mean, man, made that Super Chat like 2 years ago. I'm not 100% sure. It might have been Epidemic Sound, though. And let's see. Chrono says, you remind me of Tim Pool. I don't know Tim Pool, so thanks. Or, hey, depending on what would be the appropriate reaction. Thomas says, if YouTube banned swearing, Ensign Ricky and Sci-Fi Nation are doomed. Exactly. Well, that's the thing. They just say, because here's the thing. Swearing can be considered a violation of their terms of service, but the problem is, and where YouTube really is, you know, they're going to get themselves into some legal trouble over this sooner or later, is that they enforce their rules quite arbitrarily. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And you can't do that. You know, it's funny because, like, for example, in in the United States, if you're in an at-will employer state, your employer can fire you for literally any reason they want. They can fire you because they don't like your hair color. However, if they fire you because your hair is green, then they have to fire everyone whose hair is green, or else they do open themselves up to a discriminatory lawsuit. So that's the thing. It's okay to have ridiculous rules as long as you apply those ridiculous rules fairly. And let's see. Commander Ironwolf says, I guess you didn't hear about how they're now running basically porn ads on YouTube now. Well, no, I didn't know they were running porn. Well, some of those ads are horrible. Like, there's the one about, like, washing your balls. I was like, what? Really? That's an ad? I have to follow terms of service or I get demonetized, but they can run a freaking ad on my video. I mean, I've actually seen it where I go to the Church Life Sunday morning live stream where we're talking about God and Jesus and all that, and I get a commercial before watching that about washing your balls. And I'm like, what? Where is... No! That doesn't make any sense. If they can do that and then I should be able to do whatever the heck I want. I bet Laura Reloaded fell asleep on the job. He wasn't making YouTube go. That must be it. Chrono says, I missed the vote bot to kick. Well, maybe it'll come back. I didn't do anything to turn it off or anything. Rambling Canuck says hello. How you doing? Rambling Rattlesnake says, which aircraft are in the Kurdistani Air Force? Well, we don't reveal that information because, you know, that's government secrets, and I get in trouble if I reveal government secrets. Daniel says, oh my God, Hannah Trigger, there will be a Smallville reunion on the net, and some lucky person will talk with the Smallville cast. Wow, Kristen, Lana Lang from Smallville is hotter than ever. Daniel, you seem obsessed with Smallville. I gotta say, not a big thing to me. And Ensign Ricky and Josh Street both put in a $2 super chat each. Thank you both. And we'll wait for the thing to catch up here so that it should pop up. Josh says, yes, GTA 5 is free only on Epic Store. Ah, that's their trick. They're trying to get you to go to Epic.
I got it.
And there's Josh's $2. Thank you so much. And there's Ensign Ricky's $2. Thank you so much. I'll see if the computer can read these now.
Show drunk shirtless Foley.
Okay, we'll show that in a second. And what was Ensign Ricky's?
My videos are rated G compared to AT or Sci-Fi, LOL.
How are your... No, your videos are definitely not rated G compared to me. So... yeah, I will fight you on that one. However, just for Josh Street, no, I'm not going shirtless.
Why
Sorry.
not?
I'm not bold free. Like you. Stop it! The most disturbing image ever put on the internet. I guess that's why Ensign Ricky thinks he's rated G. And missed. Thank you though, Ensign Ricky and Josh. I do appreciate it. Why you wanted to see junk shirtless Foley, I have no idea. Mr. Wolverine says, howdy, Mr. Friend, buddy, pal, chum, compadre. How you doing, Wolverine? Chrono says, it's not an insult about Tim Pool. You should listen to him. Well, if I had time, maybe. I don't know anything about him. I've heard the name, but I genuinely don't know anything about him. Donnie says, hello. How you doing, Donnie? Tim Pool is cool, says Iron Wolf. Cool. And Chrono says, my hair is gone. Uh-oh. You shouldn't have cut it off. Or something. Zachary says, hey, Trigger, it's George Lucas's birthday. Congratulations to him for completing another trip around the sun. Hopefully in the Falcon or X-Wing. Awesome. And Joe Biden donated $1. Thank you, Joe.
I paid YouTube not to block my ads, just like those women. Oh, wait, forget that. No, if you can excuse me, I need to beat Trump and win the role on the new Spider-Man.
Joe Biden, you're crazy, but thank you for the $1. And Ensign Ricky puts in another $2 as he lies to us all, apparently.
I barely swear in any of my videos, maybe like 2 times.
Right, but well, and that's actually, I'll give you that. Ensign Ricky doesn't swear that much in his videos. What he does is he goes all around the internet and swears on everybody else's live streams. That's what he does. So, okay, you got me there. But thank you again, Ensign Ricky and Joe Biden, you nutcase. And let's see. Wow, I'm like way more. No, I'm not that far behind. Multi-Gun says ball washing commercials. Now I've heard of everything. Yeah, it's really bad. And I do not appreciate those commercials. I think they're very tasteless. And Valor puts in another $2. Thank you so much.
Wonder if you would covering Oberth class? You pick.
You mean like a breakdown of the Oberth class? I could that wouldn't be bad. The problem is the Oberth hasn't been used that much. I know that Lore Reloaded hates the Oberth. I don't hate the Oberth. I think that it's actually kind of cool that it's a more specialized ship. But I get to pick, so I'm going to pick this one.
A new cereal from the people who brought you Frosted Fruity Holes.
Yay! Bacon and eggs! Stop right there, kid! You can't eat that! That's a disgrace! You're better off with Plenty Puffs! What the heck is this stuff made of?
It's made of all the flowers and stuff from your mom's garden!
What? Son, your mother and I had a talk, and I'm bringing the belt. Plenty puffs. Why the f*** is this even a thing?
Yes, plenty puffs. Because why not? Zachary says, I have seen YouTube commercials about manscaping. Yes, that's another, that same kind of style of commercial, yes. Chrono says, I never saw Smallville. I watched it. I'll be honest with you. The first, 4 or 5 seasons were really good, and then it kind of fell apart. But it's basically just about Clark Kent when he was a high schooler. But then after he graduated high school, it's like, okay, come on, just get into Metropolis, make him Superman. But they waited till the last episode to make him Superman, and it was kind of disappointing. Daniel says, an ad about washing a person's balls. Ew. Yep. Pianodean says, I'm at Crocodile Rocks. We are testing for doing some live streams from the club. Oh, awesome. Very cool, Dean. I am excited then. And so that is genuinely awesome. And so if you guys can do live streams from the club to get back into the swing of things, that's great. Man of Sand says, maybe the ball washing ads appeared because of your turd affiliation. Maybe YouTube, Google can pick up such things. I don't think so. And Thomas says that the volume on the computer voice is still low, so we'll see when the next super chat comes up. I'll turn it up a little bit more. I just don't want it to start causing a lot of background noise. My eyes, it burns us. I'm sorry. It's about the hair. It's genetic. Yeah, I understand. Sci-Fi Sith says, hello there. How you doing? And Chrono says, hi, virtual Mrs. Anti-Trekker. Rambling Rattlesnake says, is Turkestan allied with the U.S.? Yeah, well, we're not really allies with the U.S. as much as we are not enemies of the U.S. We're we try to stay neutral in most political affairs. Mr. Owen says, can't hear the virtual voice. Now, let's see if the virtual voice is getting close enough to the virtual microphone, maybe. Bradley says, Tim Pool is one of the better news channels. I watch him sometimes. I haven't seen him. I don't watch too many news channels on YouTube. And that's a funny thing, because I know Google has been pushing towards these corporate channels. And I was actually thinking about doing a response video, kind of like the last couple of response videos I've done, except this time I'm going to actually attack a corporate channel, in this case, What Culture, because I'm sick of these corporate channels taking over YouTube. YouTube was created by independent, well, not created by, but became a success because of independent content creators, not because of big companies pumping out videos. And it makes me so angry that Google is just ignoring all the people that made YouTube great. Donnie says, hello, Michael. I'm A-OK working on my music recreation of the March of the Siamese Children from the Rodgers and Hammerstein's musical The King and I. Yes, I've seen the 2 movie adaptations of The King and I, 1956 live action one produced by what is now 20th Century Studios, and the 1999 animated one produced by Warner Brothers. I've not seen the 1999 one. And I demand the dead rat thingy, says Kronos. The dead rat thingy. That's what you call it, the dead rat thingy. Well, but now, Kronos, did you super chat? I don't think you did. You gotta put a super chat in to demand the dead rat thingy. I heard virtual Mrs. Anchecker in the background. Well, yeah, we're working on the volume thing. Daniel says, Anchecker, did you see the video I sent you of Star Wars YouTuber Mike Zero, and he's talking about Anakin Skywalker coming back in post Rise of Skywalker movie or series? I didn't watch the whole video, Daniel, but, here's the thing. The rumor and speculation stuff, I don't get into. If they bring Anakin back, I think that's stupid, quite frankly. I think they need to let all the old stuff just rest and come up with something new. When they actually put some effort into Star Wars, they come up with things like The Mandalorian, which is good. When they get lazy and they depend on a combination of political crap and then a little bit of nostalgia thrown in, we get convoluted, messy movies. And so I don't want to see Anakin come back. I want to see interesting new stories. Ramley says, what countries are allied with Turkestan? Well, again, it's not necessarily an allegiance thing. It's we're just not enemy. The only country that we have that we have any strong feelings about would be the evil nation of Karoga. Dear God, Antrigger turned Mrs. Antrigger's great bodiless voice into a computer program. He's going too far now. Iron Wolf says, I've seen a call 1-800 for a good time kind of ads. I haven't seen those on YouTube. I only made it to season 3 of Smallville. The producer's mantra of no fights, no tights turned me off. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't like that either. I think if you're going to do a superhero story, make us do a superhero. I meant shirtless Foley hurt my eyes. Gotcha. Okay. Hypothetically, how much does virtual Mrs. Anti-Tracker make compared to you just being on a live stream? Well, she gets everything I have, so all of it. Multi-Gunman says, hashtag make YouTube great again. Indeed. Corona says, I'm cheap. I can still demand things. And Max says, bring Vader back. No. Steve, look, there's a good on YouTube, Agenda-Free TV. I haven't seen that one. Speaking of Superman, the CW's upcoming Soups and Low debuts in January. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, someone mentioned it earlier, and you know, so is this like the same people from Lois and Clark, or is that because I don't know. I never watched Lois and Clark, but I'm just not excited at all. Yeah, we don't need an air force. It's not like Kuroga can fly. That's true. Kuroga is not a threat from the air. That is for sure. Well, they're a threat to themselves from the air. When did you say the next Pianodean one main concept? When's the next Pianodean's one-man concert again? Well, the plan is Memorial Day. Unless something, you know, now his work with Crocodile Rocks takes precedence. So if they do something, then he may not be able to do it. But the plan is Memorial Day. Rambling says, what do you think of the YF-23 stealth fighter? Is that the one that's like the replacement for the F-14, or let me see, YF-23? I don't keep up to. Yeah. It's cool. I think it's a cool looking plane. And Resolute Germ puts in $2.
Give Kronos his rat.
All right, so hopefully the volume is better on that one. And let me see if I can remember, where did I hide that mess? I think I accidentally put it into the super chats yet, or the mega chat.
Salutations, everyone. You will soon be hearing the tale of Stinko and his magical journey. Stinko wasn't an elf or a hobbit or any of that stuff. Stinko was a dead rat. One day, a chinchilla came and saw Stinko's rotting carcass. "This is gonna be a tasty fine morsel," the chinchilla said. The chinchilla ate Stinko, and something wonderful happened. The chinchilla blasted a mighty poot of pixie dust. Why? So you see, all the magic you've ever experienced is caused by chinchillas eating dead rats and pooting them. And that is the tale of Stinko. Why is everyone covering their ears?
And so, thank you, Joshua. I do love Stinko, the dead rat. Anyway, Rambling, I think the YF-23 is a cool looking plane. I do. But I don't know that much about it other than, you know, it's like cool looking, kind of a diamond shape to it, and looks like it could probably do its job. Did What Culture Wrestling release, what did What Culture Wrestling release that was bad? I mean, the channel has suffered since all their main talent left and created their own channel, but yeah. Well, the one, they created a sub-channel called Trek Culture, and their Trek Culture channel, they put out Trek videos by people that don't like Star Trek. And I'm not even exaggerating about that. They say it in their videos, and yet they still get people flocking to their videos. And it pisses me off because YouTube is suggesting their videos to everybody that likes Star Trek. However, they won't suggest real, genuine Star Trek fan channels. And so that pisses me off. Because they literally put out videos and they don't like Star Trek, and they get uber popular because Google decided that they're a good channel because they're a corporate channel. Soups and Low is different than Low and Clark. Okay, well, I don't know, but and quite frankly, The CW shows, I've been done with them for a while. Dottie says, in fact, it's a Supergirl spinoff. I did not know that either, because I watched like part of the first episode of Supergirl and was done. Didn't Lewis and Clark travel across North America? Yes. Darren says, okay, I'm off to work. You have my permission to watch my brilliant, spectacular review of the Twilight episode, the howling, oh man, I can't say anything, man, on your stream. Thank you for the permission, but I will refrain. In Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, Palpatine survived when his body was destroyed. He jumped out of his body and went to Exegol and took another body so Palpatine could have survived. Okay, I'm not arguing that, I'm not arguing against Palpatine surviving. I'm just saying I don't, when they start doing a new series of Star Wars films, I don't want to see them say, well, what can we rehash this time? No, do something original. That's why The Mandalorian is the best new Star Wars we've gotten. Because it's the first Star Wars we've gotten where they didn't say, hey, how are we going to just rehash stuff we've done before? Did you hear how Lucasfilm said canon doesn't matter at all? I saw someone put out a video that said, I think it was Midnight's Edge put out a video that said, does canon matter to Lucasfilm? Apparently not. I didn't watch the video, so I don't know. I don't deal with the rumor and speculation. And quite frankly, if they're saying that canon doesn't matter, it's just because they just can't, do good writing anymore. They don't know how. Zachary says, no, it's different actors for Lois and Clark. They're just similar titles. Superman and Lois just started as guest stars in the CW. Fair enough. Mr. Wolverine thinks Stinko is awesome. Yes, indeed. Joshua's going to have a hard time topping Stinko. Well, we'll see what he does next. Actually, there's one thing that he'll hopefully be doing soon that will be incredible, but I can't tell you about it because that would spoil the surprise. Let me check. No, nothing yet on that one. So, just checking on something. All right. Palpatine could have survived being blown up in Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, maybe, I suppose, but I don't want it. That's not the point, Daniel. The point of it is not, could he have survived? The point is that a compelling story? And at this point, the answer to that is clearly no. People were angry that they brought Palpatine back, even though I understand it was a desperate move because they got rid of Snoke, and JJ had to do something with the story. But that being said, I don't care enough about, the Palpatine story, in my opinion, died, or didn't die, but ended with Return of the Jedi. Bringing him back did not add to the lore to me. It didn't add to his story. It didn't make it better. It was just, oh, geez, we need someone to fill in Snoke's role. If that makes sense. Greg says, binge watching TNG and finally made it to season 3. Amazing how everything changed with that season for the better. Indeed. Season 1 and 2 are almost unwatchable on TNG. I mean, well, some of the episodes, yeah. Phantom Menace says, I don't know if I've heard your answer, but what do you think about Tom Cruise wanting to make a movie in space? What do you think about that? I'm perfectly fine with it. I've said, somebody asked me about it like last week, I think. And I said that, you know what, I'm perfectly okay with Hollywood doing that. I figured that sooner or later they're going to film on location in space. I'm totally fine with that. What I'm not okay with is the idea that millions and millions of government dollars are going to go towards putting Tom Cruise in orbit. If they do it, then it needs to be completely paid for by Hollywood. I want those billions of dollars or whatever it costs to get a man into space, get all that equipment into space, get the camera crew into space. Whatever it costs to do all that needs to be paid for by the movie studio, not by the freaking government. Other than that, I'm perfectly fine with it. Please don't rant in front of virtual Mrs. Anti-Checker. It's embarrassing. I will try not to. What did you think of the 1981 werewolf film, The Howling? I just wanted to hear you say the word howling again, jerk. Actually, you know what? I never got into that. I remember back in 81, everybody thought it was the greatest film ever. I don't know what Mrs. Anti-Checker thought, but I never cared for it that much. I mean, it was groundbreaking-ish visual effects that don't hold up. And Momo donated $1. Thank you so much, Momo. I think.
I want a super chat of me. Also, thank you, Darren, Josh Street, and Daniel for doing the Momo challenge. Number 8. I'm coming for you next, Alexander.
Okay. Wow. Just wow. Oh yeah. Yes. All right, back to it. Larry Niven wrote a story called Man of Steel, Woman of Kleenex. Why Superman wouldn't be attracted to Lois if he was, how he'd accidentally kill her during sex. Are you trying to be serious that Larry Niven, the Larry Niven, wrote a story called Man of Steel, Woman of Kleenex, or is that just a joke, Indy Tiger? Because if that's true, I'm shocked that he would write something that crass. Mr. Cat says, we did a video, a submariner's view of Karoga. Darren says, I'd like you to make a 3D model of the Starfleet ship that looks like the one Joshua made and we didn't start the cannon, the ship with the turd laying on the saucer. That would be like an impossible feat because it's like so out of... Well, I could try, but it would be so out of proportion. But maybe I'll try. And Cronus Antricker is going to rant in front of virtual Mrs. Antricker because she can't hit him when he starts ranting like bodiless voice Mrs. Antricker. Well, why would she hit me for ranting? As long as I'm not ranting about something inappropriate. I thought since you were in the Army that you would love tanks like the M1 Abrams or the Challenger 2 instead of jets like the F-22 or F-35. Actually, you know what? I do like... I think tanks and stuff are cool, but honestly, I think jets are kind of cooler. And naval, you know, and I should have joined the Navy because I think ships are actually the coolest thing. Don't worry, Tom Cruise will never go into space. Well, are you sure? Total Anthony says Tom Cruise's brain is already in orbit. Zachary says Palpatine will pull in case of emergency. Palpatine was a pull in case of emergency. I'm fine with it, Antraker, but let that be Palpatine's final death. Agreed. And that's kind of how I felt. I didn't, in fact, and I said this when I did my initial thoughts on The Rise of Skywalker. Palpatine was creepier in Rise of Skywalker than he was in the original trilogy or in the prequels. I actually kind of liked Palpatine better in Rise of Skywalker as far as being a villain. That being said, I don't want him to come back. You know, don't give me more and more of the same. And you know, it's like the same thing. Like look at what happened with the Borg in Star Trek. Don't overdo it just because Palpatine was a great villain. There were 3 werewolf movies in 81-82: The Howling, American Werewolf in London, and Wolfen. Not a bad year for werewolf fans. Yeah, I remember that was like all the thing back then for some reason. What happened to the green screen? It's over. I've been working on trying to get things cleaned up and arranged in here, but then I've been focusing all my attention on making the 3D models and stuff. But as soon as I finish getting the room arranged, then the green screen will be back. Did you at Midnight's Edge break up your schedule keeps you, or your schedule keeps you off their live streams? Yes, my schedule changes, honestly. That's all it was. Chris says, Jar Jar Abrams bringing Palpatine back seemed like trying to cram a bad sequel trilogy into a blatant fan service and just ended up making us wish there were more, all the more we had good Star Wars. Well, here's the thing. I think Rise of Skywalker was okay. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I gave it a 6 out of 10, and I stand by that score. That being said, if, Palpatine... bring him back, yes, they were trying to they were trying to basically come up with a big bad that could be convincing to go up against Rey, but Rey is still broke the franchise as far as her being so OP and not needing training and stuff like that. Phantom says Hollywood will probably make entire companies to get people into space. Won't they have to invent new stuff to make movies in space easier as well? Not necessarily new stuff, because like they would have to film. They wouldn't have to, but it would make sense to film digitally. They wouldn't want to film with actual celluloid. And even though some filmmakers think that it's not really art if you film digitally, people like that I like to call idiots. But transporting the celluloid up and down would be cost prohibitive. Plus, if the film was damaged in any way, then you would lose your product. Whereas if you filmed it digitally, you could actually transmit the imagery back down to a secured location and start editing the film from Earth, and not have to worry about developing the film and processing it to get dailies and stuff. Daniel says, this is one of the reasons I'm so obsessed with Star Trek and Star Wars is it takes billions of dollars to launch a man in space, and everyone does it in Star Trek and Star Wars. Well, but you see, that's the thing, is Star Trek and Star Wars, it's not new emergent technology. Like, if you look at, you go back, 100 years, very few people had cars, right? You go back just 20 years, very few people had cell phones. And it was very cost prohibitive to have one. And so, and I think that space travel eventually will become as mundane as a car or a telephone. More Cran Secret Agent Review Tech USA says, what do you think of Warhammer 40K? I have never played it. I don't know jack about it. And I know that there are people that are completely obsessed with it. And no, it's Kronos' time, Thomas. I don't like. I didn't say I don't like tanks. I think tanks are cool, but I think the airplanes are cooler. Sorry. Mike Richard says, I've read the Larry Niven story. It's real. That's just disappointing. Tiki and Doom says, I should have joined the Navy. Anti-Trekker, clip that. Darren says, Larry Niven wrote a pretty good Green Lantern comic story where Hal Jordan figured out how to destroy some rogue Green Lantern rings by using the light speed to change the ring's energy to yellow. That's an interesting idea. Ian McDermott was born in 1944, which means he was only 39 years old when he played Palpatine in Return of the Jedi. Mind blown. Indeed. That was just lots and lots of makeup. He was not particularly old then. I need to hire Palpy for the lawn mastering. Yes, indeed. The lawn master. Have you watched Hail Caesar and Man from U.N.C.L.E. yet? Not yet. Yes, Larry Niven wrote a story, more of an article. He also wrote one about why nuclear waste should be turned into money. That sounds weird. It would be nice if George Lucas brought back Star Wars and Lucasfilm and he makes a real sequel trilogy. Mr. Captain, I don't understand, and you're not alone with this, but I don't understand that sentiment. I truly don't. There are literally millions of fans around the world that keep saying, oh, if George Lucas would just bring back Star Wars, if George Lucas would just do more Star Wars. And Trek Movie Facts donated $1. And so, thank you, Trek Movie Facts.
We are confirming that Star Trek, Star Wars, BSG, The Expanse, and Stargate are coming together for a movie. Sonequa Martin Green is to be lead actor. Kathleen Kennedy, Alex Kurtzman, producers. Director Ryan Johnson. Number 19, please.
That sounds beyond horrible.
Presenting the newest incarnation of the Joker.
What? What are you talking about? That's not the Joker. That's just some guy.
Oh, right. Sorry. This is the new incarnation of the Joker. Oh, right. Oh my goodness,
Poor
Presenting.
Poor Joker. All right. Thank you. As weird as that was. But as far as the George Lucas thing, so yeah, people say, oh, if only George Lucas would come back and save Star Wars. If only, if only, if only. People, George Lucas quit making Star Wars because he was being crucified by the fans for the prequels. Everybody hated the prequels. Hated the prequels to the point where George Lucas sold out. He was like, I'm done. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. Here you go, Disney. Take Star Wars. And now you're saying, oh, if only George Lucas had it. No, you know what? We would have more Jar Jar Binks. We would have more battle droids. We would have more of the silliness of the prequels. And maybe some of you like that stuff. That's great. But to me, Star Wars hasn't been great since Return of the Jedi. Anyway, Daniel says Nerdrotic refuses to call J.J. Abrams by his proper name and says J.J. Abrams has earned the name of Jar Jar Abrams, and I say Nerdrotic has earned the name Turdrotic. Well, I don't. Here's the thing, Daniel. There is a very old saying, and I happen to agree with this saying, that 2 wrongs don't make a right. And although it is true that 3 rights make a left, but 2 wrongs do not make a right. And what that means is that just because, and by the way, Nerdrotic, Gary is a friend of mine, and I will, I've said to his face, and I will continue to maintain that I think it is disrespectful and wrong for him to call J.J. Abrams Jar Jar Abrams. I don't like it. And same thing with Doomcock. He's done it too, and I've told Doomcock to his face that I don't think he should do that. That being said, I'm not going to turn around and come up with some stupid insult version of their name just because they're doing it to someone else. Because it's not about J.J. Abrams. It's about being disrespectful. And if you're being disrespectful to them, then you have absolutely no right to say they shouldn't be disrespectful. So no, you should absolutely call him Nerdrotic. You should absolutely call him Doomcock. You should not be making up silly versions of their names just because you disagree with them. Because if you do, you are doing exactly what they do that irks you. So I'm not going to do that. Besides the fact that they're my friends, it also happens to be that would make me every bit as disrespectful as I'm accusing them of being. Phantom Menace, not that I've never been disrespectful to people, but generally speaking, I try to be disrespectful of the actions and the deeds rather than the person. I will criticize J.J. Abrams' body of work all day long. But I'm not going to sit there and change the way I say his name to Jar Jar just because I don't like his body of work. Phantom Menace says, also, the Space Force will probably invent cool new stuff with Hollywood, and the military space will eventually make space going cheaper. Am I right or am I wrong? I think eventually, yes. If space travel becomes more common, then it will become more affordable. And I think Space Force is a big step for that. At least I hope so. Wesley says, greetings, turds and people. Wow, that's different for you. And I'm late. Well, that's all right. Kronos says, don't be sorry. I will try not to be. Kronos, my gators are hungry. Tell Anti-Trekker to feed the gators? Your gators are hungry? Mr. Guy says, we should take up a collection and get a cameo video for Bird. Already ordered, my friend. I already ordered a cameo video for Bird. I'm just waiting for, and I keep checking every now and then, for the cameo to come through. The problem is that they had several days to do a cameo. I ordered a cameo for Bird as soon as he went into the hospital, but he'll probably be out of the hospital before I get it. And MS donated. Thank you so much, MS.
I know there's a lot of hate, but I'm still a huge fan of Abrams' work. Mission Impossible, Trek Wars. Now Kurtzman, on the other hand.
I will say this. His Mission Impossible 2, or Mission Impossible 3, I'm sorry, that was the J.J. Abrams one. Probably the best of that franchise. It was a solid movie. I think that J.J. Abrams is a talented filmmaker. That being said, while I enjoyed Star Trek 2009 and Star Trek Into Darkness, I thought that it was a step down from prior Trek. I also enjoyed the first half of The Force Awakens quite a bit, and I thought Rise of Skywalker was all right. It was actually the best he could possibly do with what he had to work with. So I'm not saying he's incompetent, which I know some people do. I don't, and that's one thing I've gotten into it with Midnight's Edge, because they'll say, that he's a hack director, a hack writer, and it's like, dude, you have no idea what the word hack means if you're going to seriously accuse J.J. Abrams of being a hack. I would like to see you produce a movie as good as Star Trek 2009 right now. If you think he's such a hack, and you have the right to judge him as such, then let me see your superior film. And Mercer puts in $2. Thank you so much, Mercer.
Meyer, the savior of Trek. Where's the override?
Yes, where is that override button for poor Khan as he was getting ready to get blown up? But yeah, Nicholas Meyer was great for Trek. Unfortunately, Kurtzman, not so much. And again, it's not that Kurtzman and the creative team behind Discovery and Picard are not incompetent. They're not incapable of producing quality programming, and that's something that you gotta be very careful about how you're attacking people. If you look at Discovery and you look at Picard purely superficially, they're very well made shows. The cinematography is nice. The acting is good. The visual effects are good. The stories, could definitely use some work, and I think that especially with Discovery, it was too politically driven. But the problem is that while they were putting together a competent show, they were in no way, shape, or form putting together Star Trek. And that's where the problem really comes in. Is that if you're going to continue a franchise, then you need to respect the franchise. And that's the difference between Kurtzman and Nicholas Meyer. Because when Nicholas Meyer and Harve Bennett were commissioned to do Star Trek II, they took a very, very different attitude. And Moroccan Secret Agent Review Tech USA put in a couple of bucks.
Can Netflix save Star Trek?
Can Netflix save Star Trek? Yes. Will they? No. Not in my humble opinion. Because here's the problem is that while let's suppose hypothetically that Netflix actually does buy out CBS or just buys the rights to Star Trek outright, even though I don't think that's going to happen. Let's say hypothetically it did. Now, what is Netflix going to do with it? Well, I'm sorry, if I look at the original Netflix programming that's come out these last couple of years, most of the time when they reintroduce something that is a classic show or something from the past, it doesn't feel the same. The Dark Crystal series, it didn't really feel like Dark Crystal. Lost in Space, horrible reboot of Lost in Space. I'm sorry, I know people say Season 2 is better, but Season 1 completely lost me, and I gave up after like the first couple episodes, because the Space Family Robinson was not supposed to be a dysfunctional family. But if you're going, what I've seen of them is they've done the same kind of crap that Kurtzman did with Trek. And I wouldn't be surprised if they said, you know what Trek needs? It needs to be darker and grittier. And Nightbreeze puts in $5. Thank you, Nightbreeze.
For all those missing birds, SOAB U11.
All right. So Nightbreeze is missing Bird of Prey 5, so we want to get his fix in. All right. Hope you got your earplugs ready. Wait,
This is CNN.
that's not the one you want. I know the one you want.
Politics, I'm hooked. I'm gonna dance for you.
Oops, hold on, I got messed up. Why did that one play? All right, sorry. Let's get that fixed. There we go.
But here's what we're gonna do. It's a beautiful day in Karoga. Of course, it's time to protect the Karoga homelands. Ah, shit! We're already taking shots. What the hell was that? What? Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Who shot me? Who shot me? Where's the body? God damn it! God damn it! It would help if it was telling me where people were shooting from. Fuck! For Alamarine, if you can sing Alamarine, you'll come with me. Alamarine.
There you go. Good old Bird. I'm hoping he comes home soon. But I also can't wait until I can give him his cameo that I ordered for him. Multi-Gunman says, DJ Odyssey keeps trying to touch me inappropriately. Well, you'll slap him around a little bit. Toxic Waste already turned into money from time to time. Don't believe me? Check out Lore Reloaded's numbers. Oh, that's bad. Croto says, yay, virtual Mrs. Anti-Tracker. Darren says, Zachary, I don't know, at this point you couldn't donate Anti-Tracker's body to science fiction. Wow. Wow. That was just mean. Oh, because Zachary's saying maybe you could get me into the Navy. Yeah, funny. Wesley says, Andrew, I don't get why so many people hated the prequels. Yes, they were not great, but they were not unwatchable. Well, here's the thing. I think that number one reason, Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks was an over-the-top, stupid character. Number two, battle droids. Battle droid, and I'm sorry, Wesley, I know you love your Star Wars, but at the same time, the battle droids are just stupid. Roger, roger, okie dokie. Oh, no! You know, it was just silly. They turned them into cartoons, and of course, on Clone Wars, well, they literally are cartoons, and that's okay. But the I think that they tried to make George Lucas tried to make Star Wars for kids in the same way that Kathleen Kennedy is trying to make Star Wars for girls, and that's not, you know. Where people don't understand is you don't need to dumb down the material for kids, and you don't need to feminize everything for girls. Girls love the original Star Wars, and they didn't have to turn it into a feminist washed Star Wars. Princess Leia kicked ass in the originals. And Sovsborg throws $20 in. Thank you so much, Sovsborg. I don't deserve that, but I truly appreciate it.
IMO. Abrams is a great bartender's director. You come out of the theater drunk, then realize later that your pants are down when you sober up. He will never be Spielberg.
You know what's funny is you just made me think of Red Letter Media's review of Star Trek 2009, that one where the movie literally rapes the person and then the person says, oh, that wasn't so bad. That's, you know, I think that here's the thing. Abrams is a good director. Is he a great director? No, but he's a good director. And no, he's no Spielberg, even though his style is obviously derivative of Spielberg. He obviously worships at the altar of Spielberg, and that's perfectly fine. That's the style he wants to emulate, and that's a winning style. I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, I would. But the thing is that what I don't want is to give this guy an existing franchise like Star Trek or Star Wars and say, okay, have fun with it, because you end up, you know, when you start giving, and I'm sorry, I know this is going to sound like sacrilege, because people say, oh, studios are bad. Studio interference is the problem in Hollywood. No, it's not. Because you know what studio interference gave us? Star Trek. You know, people think, oh, Gene Roddenberry's brilliant vision. Gene Roddenberry's brilliant vision was the freaking Cage, which was boring as hell and whitewashed as hell. The studio interference gave us classic Trek. You know, the Trek that's all celebrated for diversity and interesting stories and fun. That was studio interference, not Roddenberry's vision. Roddenberry wanted it to be like the freaking Cage. Anyway, Z-Wax says, Roger, Roger. Yeah, no thank you. Darren says, having George Lucas come back to Star Wars would be as bad as as using voodoo to bring Gene Roddenberry back to helm Star Trek. I agree, and that's the thing, is that people tend to they deify both Gene Roddenberry and George Lucas, that they think that these guys are, you know, and George Lucas more than Gene Roddenberry cared about Star Wars, but at the same time, yeah, when he had total control, it was kind of a mess. Sorry, I liked it, but it was a mess. When Gene Roddenberry had total control, it was a preachy, self-righteous crap fest. I'm sorry. Darren says, Bird Roddick. And Mrs. Auntie Trekker donates $1. Wow, thank you, babe. Thank you so much. So what does Mrs. Auntie Trekker have to say?
When does Dr. Alex show up?
Hey, wait! I think the computer's broken. Might have to reboot the computer here. That must have been fake news. Nightbreeze says, hi, Ed Trigger, fellow nerds, how you doing? Boy, man, I'm far behind. Resolute says, but Abrams doesn't deserve respect. You know what? Abrams is a human being, and he's a capable director. Do I agree with every choice he's made? No. But yes, he deserves respect as a human being. I'm not going to go on personal insults about him just because I don't like all of his movies. JJ is great at starting things, but unfortunately, like some guys out there, he doesn't know how to close. That's true. But I like being of silly versions of people I don't like once in a while. Well, you could do it, but the thing is, here's the thing, Darren. I don't care if, like people make silly nicknames about all sorts of stuff. People throw casual insults about all sorts of things. And even about, if you're talking about, J.J. Abrams or Rian Johnson or whatever. But it's when you just replace their name permanently, right? So if I want, so Darren, I might call you a jerk. I might say you're a dick. I might call, talk about, your big old beard or something. I might say a million mean things about you. But if every time I said your name, I replaced Darren Wagner with something offensive, it would get old after a while. And that's just hate. That's not having fun. That is hate. And there's a difference there. For example, Rush Limbaugh. And don't get me wrong, I know some of you guys love Rush Limbaugh, and I don't hate Rush Limbaugh, but the fact that he cannot say the word feminist, he absolutely is incapable of saying the word, even though there are legitimate feminist beliefs out there. There are legitimate feminist causes out there, but he will always call them feminazis. He can't say anything else. And that's because he hates feminism. All right. Now, I'm not judging him for that, but that's just a fact. And I don't think that anybody's going to argue that he does. You can argue whether he hates people or not, but he clearly hates feminism. But it's like with the far left and referring to toxic fans these days. Are you going to try breathing between rants tonight? Apparently not. 3 rights makes a left. Yes, if you turn right 3 times, you turned left. Think about it. Kronos says, yay, virtual Mrs. Auntie Trekker time again. Sci-Fi says, I'm possibly not alone saying this. I found Jar Jar very annoying in the movies. Even if the fans get Lucas back, I don't want that type of Star Wars movie. I found the prequels okay. Well, that's the problem, though, is that, see, George Lucas had to stop making the movies he wanted to make. Episode 2 and 3 were not the way he wanted. He wanted Jar Jar to have a bigger part, but he toned it all down because of the fan outrage. Hey there, Aaron Trigger. Bit late showing up. Been distracted playing Mount and Blade 2. Never heard of Mount and Blade 2. How is Bird of Prey 5? No, dear Bop, son of a bitch, all week. We want Bird back. Yeah, I know you miss him. He's doing all right. He popped in for a little while on my subscriber stream today, and he also did a brief stream on his own channel. He'll be home soon. Wait till JJ gets hold of the DC universe. You know what? I'll say this much. I think JJ would be a better fit for doing the DC universe than Star Trek or Star Wars. For one thing, the DC universe doesn't have a film franchise of canon to work with. It's going to be a reboot of the universe. So if you're giving him something fresh, I think he can work with it. That's why Star Trek 2009 was okay, but the problem is that he didn't really understand the characters. I think he understood TNG better than TOS. But anyway, if you give him characters like Superman, I think he can do Superman. I think he can make bright, happy, fun Superman again. And I would love to see that. So I'm not opposed to JJ actually doing some DC work. Sci-Fi Sith is in the house, says, for what they were and Star Wars and Rise of... I assume... Wait. For what they were and Star Wars, ROTS is my favorite movie. ROTS. I was thinking Return of the Jedi, but that's Rise of the Skywalker? That's not the movie. I'm not sure what you mean there, Sci-Fi, but I liked Return of the Jedi best of all the Star Wars films. At the very least, JJ created a whole new timeline to alter canon. Kurtzman is just outright disregarding existing canon. I agree. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday about Star Wars going downhill, and she said it's I'm assuming that's karma for Lucas going after BattleTech years ago over the name Battle Droid long before he used it. I don't believe in karma, but okay. There's a difference. There's a difference through putting together a movie or show well on a technical level and making it a good movie or show within the franchise. That's very true. But here's the thing. The technical level stuff is hard as hell. That's why most movies aren't technical masterpieces. And so JJ is a very good filmmaker. But here's the thing. Where the story and how it fits into the franchise, that's in the writing. Number one, the writing. That's where the effort needs to be made. I would say, get some writers that understand and know Star Trek, that understand and know Star Wars, and then you can get J.J. Abrams to direct a film, sure. But don't let J.J. have a hand in the writing. J.J.'s great movies are those he had a blank canvas, but when you have him make a film with an already established lore, he makes half-baked movies. I agree. And in fact, if you look at one of his movies, most people don't realize it's a J.J. Abrams movie, but really good movie regarding Henry. Andy Trekker, wow, I can't pronounce that. Tamura, the guy that played Boba Fett, I assume, or Jango Fett, has already filmed the scenes, and I hear it's rumored that Mandalorian will go to Mandalore at the end of the season. I don't deal with rumor, Daniel. Don't you know that? I don't deal in rumor, my friend. I'm looking forward to Mandalorian Season 2. That's all I'm going to say about Mandalorian Season 2 until I see something from Mandalorian Season 2. I'm not going to speculate, but I am looking forward to it because I really enjoyed Mandalorian Season 1. And I'm pretty sure Mrs. A. Tricker will watch Mandalorian Season 2, if nothing else, just for some more Baby Yoda. Darren says the only people who can bring Star Trek back from the dead are McFarlane, Kodo, Beer, and or Moore. No one else that is out there right now. I disagree, Darren. I disagree. And Emperor Palpatine donated $1.
I got him!
Episode 3 is my favorite super. Super chat 22.
Wow, that was... Emperor Palpatine changed his laugh quite a bit. And then another one came. What was the other one for? I didn't see who it was for. Computer, who was that?
Mercer Create.
Okay. What did Mercer say?
Cloud Atlas is my favorite sci-fi film. For the last 10 years.
I've not seen Cloud Atlas. I've meant to, but I never got around to it. And what super chat did Emperor Palpatine want? Number 22?
Yes.
Okay. So let's get number 22 for the Emperor. Oh. Speaking of Ryan Johnson. All right. Sorry, the computer had a little bit of a problem there. The only people... Okay, so Darren, no, I don't think you have to get McFarlane, Kodo, Bear, or Moore in on it. Now, Moore is a great writer, but look at what he... and this is the truth. I don't think Moore would have been good being a showrunner, because if you look at Moore quit Voyager, and then he made Battlestar Galactica, because that's what he thought Voyager should have been. Battlestar Galactica is a great show, but it certainly doesn't fit into Star Trek world. It would have been too dark and gritty and all that, and I think we would have had Discovery in Voyager had more gotten his way. So I'm kind of glad about that. That being said, I think that there are lots of writers out there that love Star Trek. I think I mean, all you would have to do, I could build a writer's room right now just by handpicking people off of YouTube. And I would make sure to get a diverse group, some liberal, some conservative, people, you can get men, women, different ethnicities represented, and make an incredible writer's room. And then you come up with an interesting concept and run with it. But you don't make it about a political agenda. You create your concept, put some interesting characters into said concept, and let it roll. That's what you do. And Anti-Trekker donated $1, apparently.
I got him!
Which is kind of weird.
I admit I love watching Discovery and First Contact while sitting in my hobbit hole. Michael Burning's character is amazing writing and a pure joy to watch. Mrs. Anti-Trekker's choice of Super Chat.
Well, so Mrs. Anti-Trekker's choice of Super Chat is going to be this one. All right, Mr. Miles says first. Of course. Chrono says, General Chang said the word incompetent the best. You are incompetent! Yes, he did. Spinning Spock AOC feels my old man Bird of Prey is in the front row. My friend said that she laid a curse upon Star Wars for Lucas almost destroying Battletech because he used the word battle droids in the mid-'80s. I blew it off, but now I'm not so sure. I don't think that there was a curse involved. I think it was... Because here's the thing. George Lucas is funny because even though he came up with a great idea in Star Wars, he's not a particularly good director and he's not a particularly good writer. When he wrote and directed Star Wars, it was subpar to when other people wrote and directed superior Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi were not written or directed by George Lucas, and they are pretty much universally considered the best of the franchise. How many times can Bird die in a game? A lot. A lot. Darren says, have I been mean to you lately? I can tone it down. No, you're all right. Thomas says, still waiting for that epic video of you, Chris, and myself attacking Bird in his underground base. Oh, jeez. I don't even know where that footage is. You're right. Bird of Prey is good at any game. I kind of feel... Bird of Prey good at any game? Kind of feel bad about you guys teasing him. Actually, the games that he does best in are games of strategy. And yes, it's easy to make fun of because Bird, has limited motor control with his hands, and so any kind of game that's like a shooter or a piloting game, yeah, he's going to suck at it. But it's just, he is evil, so there's that. And Chrono says, speak it, virtual Mrs. Andy Drinker. Christopher Cole says, for those who say George will instantly make Star Wars better, I have 2 words, Christmas special. That is true. The guy I'd actually like to see write and direct Star Trek film is M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. Shyamalan, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that he would be a good fit for Star Trek, but it could be interesting. That's for sure. I think it's more accurate to say the studio interference is a double-edged sword. Well, it depends on the studio, and that's the thing, is that generally speaking, like the studio executives want the film to be successful because they want all the money, right? And you don't make money off of unsuccessful films. That's why, for example, as Star Wars is beginning to improve, it's because of studio executive Bob Iger intervening and saying, whoa, 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 and putting the brakes on Kathleen Kennedy. That's why we got Rise of Skywalker, and that's why we got The Mandalorian, was because of Iger. So that's actually a good thing. Star Trek, perfect example for the 60s. The original pilot sucked. The studio said, let's do it like this, and it worked. And became the beginning of the greatest franchise of all time. So, you know, there's that. So, whatever you think about JJ's directing, so the massive use of strobe effects in Rise of Skywalker was disgusting. I'm not photosensitive. It makes it borderline unwatchable. I don't know. I haven't rewatched it since I saw it in theaters, so I'd have to pay attention to that next time. Studio interference gave us transporters on Star Trek Enterprise. Studio interference also gave us 7 and 9. Studio interference can be a double-edged. So I get it. Studio interference can be good or bad. It depends on the studio. But it's not just a universal, it's bad, and artists are good. And Nightbreeze puts in $5. Thank you so much, Nightbreeze.
Let's watch Bird to try to fly in Space Engineers. U12.
Oh, goodness. We're just going to be picking up Bird today. If it'll play. What's wrong with you? There we go.
Base, this is Anti-Trigger aboard the Goliath. Please confirm that we sent communication ships to anybody in the area so that they would know not to be in their ships right now. Thank you, Base. We're going to commence with weapons test.
I left the chips on your ship? What chips? What's a chip? You left chips on the ship. I don't even know what the hell a chip is.
Roger, Base. This
You
is
mean like
Anti-Trigger
computers?
in the Goliath, ready for weapons test.
I don't see anything on the ship. Am I missing something? Oh, right there. I am missing something. What the hell is that?
Roger, Base. Preparing to fire weapons at lowest settings in 3, 2.
Shoot the son of a bitch, says Chief Cook. Kronos is low. Wesley says you missed. It was a warrant.
And weapons test appears to be successful. Base, we succeed. Wait. Was Bird Prey on that ship? Wait, I think I see a life pod out there. Bird Prey, can you hear me? Bird Prey, are you okay? No! God damn it! Are you crying, Bird? Why do you hate me? I'm not crying. I've got soot in my eyes.
And just as a bonus here, let's play this one.
And this thing actually moves pretty damn well for a spaceship. Now, not all the engines were in the final locations because I never quite finished, and I didn't add any weapons. But yeah, this would have been the ship that would have taken on the Goliath had the battle ever happened.
So yeah, Bird of Prey's brilliant piloting skills can be matched by no one. All right, where were we? Oh man, I heard that Jar Jar is originally going to be revealed as a villain. Even his voice actor was hinting at this is true. I don't know that the Darth Jar Jar thing has any weight, but it would have been interesting if that were true. Just because studio handled Trek well for a while doesn't mean they are the answer now. They're also pretty much killed Trek. No, but my point is that where artists see, you hear the artist perspective all the time, that studio interference is the problem. No, it just depends on the wrong person making the call, because right now we have artists that are trying to say, oh no, I want to make my vision of this franchise, and that's how we got the Last Jedi. That's how we got Star Trek Discovery, was the supposed artist trying to make their stamp on the franchise. That is just as bad as studio interference. That was the main point of what I was trying to rant about. And Joshua has been giving his mom accent lessons. Don't know. Darren says, Rush Limbaugh used the term feminazi since 2002. Well, that's good then. But if that's true, I don't watch or listen to Rush. I haven't since probably 2000. So, yeah. I'd just like to say what Michael J. Straczynski could do with either Star Trek or Star Wars. He'd respect canon, but bring something new to either or both. Well, I don't know who Michael Straczynski, the name sounds familiar, but don't know what he's done. Abrams has done nothing to try and redeem himself. He actually made it worse, so the hate is well-deserved. I disagree. And I'm sorry, Resolute, if you don't see what Abrams tried to do with Rise of Skywalker, you weren't looking. I'm sorry. You don't have to like the movie. You don't have to say the movie's great. But if you don't see that he tried to redeem himself in that film, then you're just not looking. Darren says, I kind of wanted to see a sequel to Willow. I liked Willow. You had a sub stream today. Wow, thanks for the heads up. Yeah, well, we send out notifications, but yeah. Rush doesn't hate feminists. I'm not going to argue about what Rush loves or hates. 3 lefts only make a right if the lefts are 90-degree turns. Well, that's true. Mr. Scott said, how funny would it have been if JJ brought back Jar Jar instead of Palpatine? That would have been funny, actually. Since we can't get Dear Bob, can we get Dear Anti-Trekker right? Not right now, but thinking about doing something like that. We don't really need Superman films right now. We have Shazam. Well, Shazam actually is feels like what Superman movies should be. Fun. Tim says, what's up, boss? Doing the Nephilim Rifts. I'm only a couple of maps from getting the season armor. Dang, Tim. You've been busy. Well, 2:36 my time. Still have to annoy you. Hey, Kronos. Mr. Mouse says, Star Wars, The Rise of Turdwalker. Revenge of the Sith. Okay, that's what I was getting confused about. Thank you, Aberjam. Sorry, you guys know, being dyslexic, I suck with acronyms and stuff like that. Producers can mess up canon pretty much as much as any writer. By the way, in Hollywood, writers are the lowest form of life on Earth. Boom operators have more respect. Harlan told me that. Well, here's the thing. It depends on when you're talking about. Virtual Mrs. H-Checker is here. All you need to do is send money or chats to here. That is true. No Superman film from JJ right now. H-Checker about to get a new Superman series. Don't need oversaturation. Well, first of all, I think the new Superman series is a mistake. I think they need to reboot the films and make it right. That's the funny thing. Superman works better in film because they're not going to be able to do anything epic on a TV show. I mean, sorry, they're just not. What is printing today? A updated version of this. And let's see. Sci-Fi sits there and says, well, Miss Checker is in the house doing voiceovers and is not just a computer. Well, she's a computer. She's just the most beautiful computer on Earth. Hey, Checker, why are you asking a disembodied computer voice questions? Is it interactive like Siri? Oh, she's much more interactive than Siri. I think Moore left Voyager over the Equinox two-parter, which was a wasted opportunity for Janeway's character. If that's true, I don't disagree with his decision. Actually, he left long before that. He left long before that. Saying that Moore would have made Voyager as dark and gritty as Galactica is a false binary. Galactico's gritty because it wasn't Star Trek. Actually, it's not a false binary, Darren. If you listen to Moore's podcast that he did while simulcasting with Battlestar Galactica, he said as much. And he wanted, basically he took several of his ideas for Trek and incorporated it into the Galactica series, and he felt that this is how Voyager should have been. I thought Miss Anti-Trekker wasn't there. How does she get choice in Super Chat? Well, I used my psychic powers to communicate with her. Return of the Jedi is considered to be objectively weakest of the original trilogy. Maybe by you, but not by many. I'm sorry. To say it's objectively weakest, that doesn't even make sense. First of all, Laquitius, there's no such thing as an objective opinion on a good or bad film. The only objective things you can say, and this is something that, by the way, the Renegade Cut actually gets right in his video. The only things you can say that are objectively true about a film are based on technical achievement, right? You can objectively talk about the visual effects being seamless, that you can objectively talk about the quality of the filmmaking itself. You can't objectively say this story is better than this story, because that's a subjective opinion. Every story opinion is. That being said, Return of the Jedi is objectively better than the original Star Wars. If you look at the visuals on that film, it's a better made film. Now, as far as the story, you may love it, may hate it, but that's not objective. I love Return of the Jedi. May be my favorite. I think of the old trilogy as I think of the old trilogy as objectively the worst movie. In what way, Laquitius? In what way? Because there is no way that I can see it as being objectively the worst movie. George would make everything better in one movie. He would put Dave Filoni in charge and walk away. I don't think he would. George Lucas, and that's the thing. People think George Lucas is going to hand the keys to someone and let them do it. George Lucas is a freaking control freak. If you really think that George Lucas is going to delegate, have you not seen any of the behind-the-scenes stuff on the prequels? George Lucas is an absolute control freak and a dictator. He will not hand control over it. That's why he had to walk away from Lucasfilm. It was either his way or he had to leave. There was no other way to do it. I think George Lucas is a way better writer and director than Gene Roddenberry. Disagree with you. On those two particular skills, writing and directing, Gene Roddenberry... Well, I don't know about directing. Did Gene Roddenberry really direct anything? I don't know. But, I mean, he wrote a few episodes of Trek. He can definitely write better than George Lucas. Don't know about directing. I'm guessing you have it on Top Chat. Some of those comments you were reading were out of order. Actually, it's... Oh, it is on Top Chat. I could have sworn I switched it to the live chat. Sorry. Malfi says, would Mark Zotz... Oh, man. I'm not 100% sure who that is, Malfi. I like the video where Bird ignores the asteroid. Yes, that's actually very funny. Picking on Bird today, so just like every other day. Well, of course. Let's see. Look out for the asteroid Bird. Oh, never mind. Wesley says, oh, I miss those days. Bird of Prey was just the best comedy ever. He still is, and when he gets back home, I will be looking forward to more Bird antics. Do you ever talk to Laura? You hardly mention him anymore. Actually, since he's moved, I haven't had much talk with him. I hope he's doing well, but he's doing his own thing. Johnny says, I love your current background the same way I love the virtual one. That's kind of weird because they're very different. And Thomas puts in a link to something. I don't know what. Let me see.
I think if...
Oh, yeah, that's another classic. All right. Well, I'll bring this up just because since you showed it, Thomas. So, here's another great piloting mission for Bird of Prey.
I think if I angle this right, we're going to be okay. We were not okay. Okay, Bob O'Fray. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that didn't look okay.
Yeah, that definitely did not look okay. Writers like Paul Jenkins make me root for the studio interference all the time. Well, you see, that's the problem. Studios hopefully can rein in those kind of things, but yeah. The creator of Babylon 5. Well, I don't know. Because Babylon 5 and Trek were two different animals. In taking your nerd card, you don't know who made Babylon 5. Sorry, I'm not an encyclopedia of knowledge. I remember when Willow was only the live-action Tolkien movie. I remember when Willow was the only live-action Tolkien movie we had. Very true. And Chrono says, oh, hey there. Okay. JJ was totally handcuffed making episode 9 because of Rian Johnson. While not a great movie, he did better than expected. I agree. Femputer. I don't think she's a femputer. I like Superman, the animated series in the 90s, just saying. Yeah, nothing wrong with that series. You were married to a computer? Okay, Lando. Well, she's the smartest one. I would not be opposed to J.J. Helm Green Lantern reboot. I would have it feature Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, and Guy Gardner versions of the film together. That I would like to see, yes. By the way, your super late birthday gift is still on its way. Thank you, Wesley. How good would a Peter Jackson Star Trek or Star Wars be? Well, it'd be about 4.5 hours long. But I don't know. That's the problem. Would Peter have to write it? Probably a bad idea. Since I haven't seen or heard Moore's podcast, I defer to you on that. No problem. George Lucas did hand the keys over to Disney. Right, but what I'm saying is that if George was still running the company, no, that's not how... People begged him to turn over part of the production of the prequels to other people, and he wouldn't do it. He had to write the script himself. He had to direct the movies himself. He had to produce everything himself. He had final approval on everything. And we ended up with The Phantom Menace. Personally, I think that the original Star Wars was pure magic. Some creators only have one good movie in them, like Orson Welles and Citizen Kane. I agree. I think that Star Wars was his magnum opus. Return of the Jedi is objectively worse than the old trilogy because of the narrative weakness in the first act. Last act flows great, but the first 20-30 minutes are not particularly tightly written. Alright, so everything you just said is subjective. Narrative weakness and flow is your subjective opinion on it. Many people think that the first act of Return of the Jedi was exciting and fun and showed you the fact that Luke had grown since Empire. Other people, like you, think that it's weak. I disagree. Wonder what Alan Dean Foster could do with Star Trek or Star Wars now. Don't know. Probably we'll never find out. Valor says, what does Voyager and Star Trek Discovery have in canon? Answer, showrunners, magical shuttle bay with endless shuttles, terrible women in charge, both Mikey, Spock, and Janeway cost a lot of deaths. Well, but here's the thing. At least Voyager didn't insult the fans. Note to self, Bird of Prey 5 isn't very good at piloting. That is true. Next 3D product, Nerd Community Cards. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Carter says, wow, you are so clever. I'm not sure what I said. Brokeback Mountain is objectively gay. Oh, that's true. Cinnabon says, anyone up for a game of Risk? Not stream, but was going to play a game. Well, actually, I'm going to wrap it up here, Cinnabon. If you want to get your stream started, get it started, my friend. Did you know Peter Jackson had pitched a Superman reboot to Warner 20 years ago, and they turned it down because he wanted to be a period piece, so he made King Kong instead? I did not know that, but I don't think making Superman a period piece is a good idea. Just like I thought that was the worst thing about the Joker film, was that it was a period piece. Mark wrote for shows like B5, DS9, Sliders, and his new show called Space Command. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. Was he bad? Could he do it? Yeah, but the problem is that a lot of these writers, you have to understand the head of a writer. They're thinking, how do I make this mine? You see what I'm saying? And that's a problem. We don't want, I don't want to bring in writers with big heads that want to put their stamp on things. I don't want to bring in showrunners that have big heads and want to put their stamp on things. I want people to look at this universe and say, how do we continue this? But we're not getting that from anybody. Tim says, you need to look up an article by Universe Magazine, 50 Reasons Why We Hate Return of the Jedi. The article is quite humorous. Some points are spot on. But here's the thing. You can love or hate any movie. I mean, you could come up with 50 reasons to hate any movie ever made. I guarantee you. I could come up with 50 reasons to hate Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, even though it's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think the best of all Trek. You could come up with 50 reasons why this movie is objectively the worst. In fact, maybe I'll do a video on that sometime, like Star Trek II is objectively the worst Star Trek film. Why? Here's some reasons, but I think that you can't say objective and talk when you're talking about movies, because whether a movie is good or bad is always subjective. Did you ever watch Sliders? Only a couple of episodes. Any thoughts on Robert Pattinson not beefing up for Batman? Well, Robert Pattinson being Batman is a huge mistake, no matter what size he is. Zachary wants a remake of Sliders, And Tim says, I'm not saying as a hater, I love Return of the Jedi. Just check the article and have a laugh. Well, I understand, and I can, if the article is sarcastic, I'd probably enjoy it. But my thing is that when people say, well, this movie is objectively the worst, and then they give subjective reasons, I have a problem with that. The only things that, as far as saying a movie is objectively bad, you have to look at things that are objective. And things like, oh, the dialogue was clunky, the plot didn't flow, it wasn't compelling. None of that is objective. All of that is 100% subjective. However, if you say the scenes were properly lit, the visual effects were properly executed, stuff like that, you can say objectively. Bet you can't name 50 things wrong with First Contact. I'm never going to. I'm going to have to make a pledge to never say anything bad about First Contact ever again, just because I catch too much flack for that. All right, so we are going to wrap it up there. I do want to say thank you guys for hanging out with me, but we got started a little late, but I need to get some rest. I got a long day tomorrow, and hopefully the print will be done in a couple hours, and yay, that'll be fun. All right, guys, take care and have a good one. And just as I hit the button, Loquetius puts in $10. Thank you so much, Loquetius.
Not all narrative evaluations are subjective. Logical problems like plot holes or how cause and effect are structured can be objective features. It's not just limited to technical filmmaking.
Actually, good point there, except that is part of technical filmmaking. As far as avoiding logical problems in the plot, that is a technical skill as far as writing. That doesn't mean the story's any good. You can tell a 100% technically perfect story that is boring as all heck. And in fact, we've seen that many, many times. But thank you, Loquetius. That is an excellent point. I should have said that when I was talking about things that are objective. But yes, as far as the writing, you can say, okay, there were no direct conflicts in the writing. So no plot holes or logical fallacies. But yes. And Pianodean is uploading a new video. Oh, wait. Sorry, I gotta wait for the computer to read it. I apologize. Sci-Fi Sis says, live long and prosper. Thank you. Hopefully, Cinnabon, get your streams getting going, because people should be coming over to say hi to you soon. And eventually, there it is. Wow. Oh, no, Night Breeze puts in $1 too. Thank you, Night Breeze. So I guess we got two of them right there. And so then, let's see, where's Pianodean?
Uploading a new video of me playing drums.
Hello, world.
And then Night Breeze puts in $1 as well. Thank you so much, Night Breeze.
All kneel before the Queen of Nerds and true leader of the Great Turdistan. All hail the Hypnoturd.
Killing me with the Hypnoturd. All right. Let's go to... There we go.
I'm so ronery, so ronery.
All hail. Oh, now with vocal? No! It was Night Breeze. I'm not doing vocal fry. All hail the ronery Hypnoturd. You're so ronery without the Hypnoturd in your head. Remember, the Hypnoturd will help you to not be ronery anymore. Because without the Hypnoturd, you're ronery and pathetic. Don't be ronery and pathetic. Be good and give everything to the Hypnoturd. And while I was doing that, Zezwix, Mal, put in a couple of bucks. Thank you.
Donate for a happy end. May the force be with you.
Thank you, my friend. May the force be with you, or that's the Catholics say, and also with no, and in your spirit. That's what whatever.
Making your way with the nerds today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from hating JJ sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to?
And Mr. Wolverine, wow, you guys are just being too crazy. Puts in a couple of bucks. We'll wait for the thingy to pop up any second here, and then we'll let Discovery die eventually. Come on. Come on, Streamlabs. Or is it StreamYards? I always get it confused. Whichever it is. It's Streamlabs. Streamlabs has been running slow lately. There it is. Mr. Wolverine with $2.
I got him! Great hit! Don't get cocky.
Die, Disco, die.
I think it's supposed to be disco. Let's bring that up. Ah, yes. The classics. All right, thank you, guys. I do appreciate it.
Just get laid. Sometimes you wanna go where all the Trekkies know your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be in a galaxy where Star Trek isn't lame. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Turds of a feather flock together, that's what we believe. We know a place that's got you covered, a place to get relief. When you like to say me poo. Sometimes you wanna go where Turnistannies know your name, and all Kurogans are to blame. You wanna be where you can see Kuroga go up in flames. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
You son of a bitch, anti-tracker!